Yo. Oh, what happened to a 30-second countdown? I don't get a 30-second countdown anymore? Damn. Hating, hating. All right, how you guys doing? How you doing? How's it going? How's it hanging? Batman Wayne, Dolores, Claiborne, Buzz, Jeremy, CFF. You like my constitutional freedom fighter? This guy right here is in the comment section right now. What's up, everybody? Let's see if I could play this. If I could play this, let's put a lot of me and a little bit of it. Whole lot of me and a little bit of it. Uh-oh. This is supposed to look like me.
Good morning. JohnFilax, Transparency Accountability Coalition, TAC-US.org.
Sorry to interrupt. Governments are corrupt. It's not a conspiracy.
Yeah.
Gangs to enforce tyranny.
This is really weird.
Standing up for rights. No arguments or fights. It's all self-defense. Resisting without violence. Resisting without violence. Resisting without violence.
All right, so I'm kind of doing a political show tonight, so I figured I'd play my political channel's intro, one of the intros. Welcome, everybody. Let me say hi to everybody, and then we'll get right to it. Steve Poe, Jason Zwak. What's up, Jason Zwak? I love your channel, dude. I really do. I hope you can make it to Auditapalooza. By the way, everybody, Auditapalooza, Saturday, October 18th. If you're an auditor, email me. Most auditors, if I've heard of you get to come for free. If you're not an auditor and you want to come see a bunch of awesome auditors, there's already 25 plus of auditors going to be there for sure. Probably way more than that. Email me your first and last name to JohnFilax@gmail.com. JohnFilax @gmail.com. What else here? What else? I don't know. What else? Things. There's things you should know. Let's do this real quick. Let's do this. If you want to be a rock superstar and deal cards, why does this website look all weird? If you want to be a poker dealer, go to rockstardealingacademy.com. Okay, there's that. Now, if you play pool and you play in league, usually league is you get some patches and trophies, and you get one whoop-de-doo trip to Las Vegas every year. And hopefully if your team wins, you might make 25 grand. This league, if you want to be part of this league, if you want to start forming teams at your pool hall, this league pays $25,000 every session. Minimum $25,000 every session for first place. There's also second, third, fourth, and at the end of the year finale, the winning team gets minimum $100,000. They did it in 2019. They paid off $100,000 to the winning team, and then COVID struck, shut down the whole league. We're starting it up again. The matches will start in January. Email me if you want to be part of this. Also, my 501c3
freedoms. At TAC-US.org, we're fighting back. We're the Transparency Accountability Coalition, a nonprofit defending your constitutional rights. No partisanship, just principle. From protecting free speech to demanding transparency, we're here for you. Visit TAC-US.org to learn more and join the movement. TAC-US.org, because your rights deserve a voice. Act now.
So TAC-US.org if you'd like to join for free. And let me say hi to everyone else. Constitutional Antonio Ma, what's up? Bert Johnson, Joseph Craney, Robert, Audit Them, what's up? The Lost Boys, what's up? Hot Live, what's up? Surreal Cam, what up, brother? Thirst for Truth, what's up? You're the dude that called me when I was up in New Jersey. That's pretty funny and pretty cool. Rancho Relaxo, what up? MG4 Productions, JohnFilax, I'm coming to Auditpalooza. I'm from Naples, Florida. I'm going to drive 12 hours to meet you. Please do. Please do. Liberty Troll, what's up? Liberty Troll was just on Dr. Dave's channel. If you don't know who Dr. Dave is, he's just like another spin-off version of Auditor Troll. And he has some two douchebags on his channel. They were doing some live stream, and they're making fun of like us freedom fighters. And then Zach gets in his thing. He goes on and just makes them look like total fools. Like Zach is articulate. He knows what the deal is. He actually means freedom and believes what he's doing, like we all do. And those guys are a bunch of knuckleheads. I've never even heard of Dr. Dave, and then I saw he had like 200,000 subs. That means that there's a lot of people who hate us and a lot of people that love the government boot on their neck. So whatever, if you're proud of that, you're proud of that. Hoop, what's up? Hawks fan for life, what's up? According to Jennifer, what's up? Peter Kaufman, what's up? Carlos Bali, what up? Mr. Mazzili, Liberty or Death, what's up? I am done. Law Seeker, Max Archow, Michael Reed, Music Holds the Secret, John Eagle, what's up? Hunter, what's up? Mr. Jorgensen, the inventor of the tampon. He made tampons better for women. He really did, Mr. Jorgensen. And if you'd like to meet Mr. Jorgensen, you'll be at Auditpalooza. Lynn Mowry, John, can you talk about how Freemasons control corrupt law enforcement and make it nearly impossible for good cops to go against bad Masons? Lynn Mowry, I could talk about that on a different video, and please don't spam my comment section with that over and over and over. Anyone who wants to look up the Masons and the type of control they have over law enforcement and government, and it's not just the Masons. There's a lot more than just the Masons, and if I do talk about that, it'll probably be on my second channel. CGL, what's up? Garden State Accountability, what up, pimp? Garden State is the gentleman who let me drive his Volkswagen R souped up 6-speed from Union City, New Jersey, all the way to Groton, Connecticut. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. And I talked to Zeroff. Hillsboro Highlights. What's up, Michael Reed? What's up? What's up? What's up? Got to get to the end here. Miami Beach Accountability. What's up? Stu, Michael Reed, Garden State. Okay, cool. Right on. Sorry, guys. I gotta go to the end here. Gotta go to the end. Okay. So I was watching, let's go to this, where it is right here. No, that's not it. Let's go right here. Okay, so I was watching this, right? Nope, that's not what I was watching. I was watching this. And this is Denver Metro Audits channel. And I came to find out that this that you're seeing on the screen right here was actually this 4-hour long Saturday Night Live with Auditing Erie County and Friends. By the way, Auditing Erie County was Auditor of the Year last year at Auditpalooza. He got an award just like this. It's just heavy award. Other people got awards there that didn't show up, and if they like Long Island has an award there, I believe. And he said he was coming this year to Auditpalooza. So is Leroy Truth. So is Garden State Accountability. So is the Exposure Report. So they're coming. Of course, people are going to start texting me when I go live. I need to make that silent. Hold on. It's probably Liberty Troll. Please watch. Okay. Oh, when I was garage selling this weekend, I picked up this mint condition. This is just a Led Zeppelin. How cool is that, dude? Just a whole booklet about them and who they were and photographs. This thing is mint. Music Spotlight Collector's Edition. How cool is that? So, where was I? Oh, Long Island Audit today. He posted a video about when we all went to New Jersey to, and we all spoke at the Groton City Hall. And right as that video pops off, you hear me saying, "How would you like it if somebody spit in your mouth?" I thought that was great. Appreciate that, Sean. That's good. So this was a 4-hour stream, and all these guys were in it. All these, like, you got Long Island, you got AZ Unfiltered, you got Auditing Erie County, Direct D was there, Good Guy Audits, Good Guy Activism. I just met him up there. Rogue Nation, Joe Cool, Tyrant Terminator, Wright's Crispy, for public safety. So all these guys were in the 4-hour one. I haven't seen the whole thing, and I guess this is a snippet right here. This is a snippet from that 4-hour thing on Denver Metros. This is what I watched. So I'm going to be commenting on this today. And since I wasn't invited to the actual event or the this thing, whatever you call it here, I'm just going to let them talk, and I'm going to put in my 2 cents because they're all talking politics, and there's a lot of them, and it's hard to get a word in, honestly. It's probably why it took 4 hours. So here we go. I debate post facto, after the fact. That's why the title says I debate after the fact, ATF. Here we go.
And this is a serious one this time. What do you tell, what do we as a community tell the people like myself that have absolutely zero reason to like a cop or have ever met a good cop? What do you tell those people?
Well, I would.
So before Long Island answers, no reason to like a cop or think that there's a good cop. What you would do, you would, within the system legally, you would figure out a way to vote in constitutional sheriffs, constitutional council people, legislatures, because first and foremost, if they don't even know or appreciate the Constitution, of course the cops aren't going to go by the Constitution. Like they don't think of personal liberties. Like these parasite cops, these parasite government employees, they're never in their mind are they walking around on a day-to-day basis saying, I can't wait to protect somebody's rights. All right, let's hear what Sean's going to say.
I would say that we're all people, right? Cops are people, just like, we're all people. We are all human beings that we're on this planet all together. We're all human beings. There's going to be, there are some, again, and I'll say it again. I always get, but we're not the thin blue line here. At least we're not supposed to be. And this is why, this is when I told James Freeman, when I started auditing, I wanted to be myself. I wanted to just focus on who I was as a person, and I didn't want to mimic anybody. I watched First Amendment audits for years before I started, and I didn't want to be anybody else. I just wanted to be Sean Paul Reyes. But everybody's entitled to their opinion of me, and they can have it, and that's fine. But there's auditors out there, right? First Amendment auditors that I don't agree with, that I think are 100% trying to harass civilians, trying to harass police officers.
Well, they're out there, that's for sure.
It might be your right to harass a police officer. It might be your right to curse him out and say whatever you want to say.
Oh yeah, I forgot that I have this shirt in my Etsy store. If you guys want one.
And suck my dick, blah 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 blah. Whatever you want to say to them, you can do that. That's fine. But if you're really trying to, that's your right, and I support your right 100%. But what we're trying to accomplish. There's people in this chat right now that are diehard First Amendment, auditor, supporters, and no matter what happens, like I'm not going to name any names. No matter who says what to a cop, and no matter how they say it, they're going to support. We're trying, at least I am trying, to get people from that I've gotten emails like, hey, I used to think you guys only harass people, and then I've watched.
Voting is desperate. It's past time to decentralize voting. So Jonathan Malcolm, okay. So if you can't vote constitutional candidates in and have constitutional police officers and constitutional sheriffs and police chiefs and officers, tell me what the next step is, because I'd love to know. I don't know what it is. And it's got to be lawful, and it's got to be peaceful without hurting anybody, using force. Tell me what the answer is outside of voting in constitutional candidates and running for office yourself and flooding city councils when they do something wrong and swarming police stations when they do something wrong. These are all peaceful acts, but they show solidarity and they show that we're all on the same page. It's honestly, it's freedom versus not freedom. Which side are you on? Like the people that call us frauditors, they're anti-freedom. The cops that have a problem with us, the politicians that have a problem with us, they're anti-freedom, because all we want, and I'll tell you my damn philosophy when it comes to politics. Here's how you got to look at every single thing when it comes to politics and the use of force and the use of police. If you write a response to what we're supposed to do, whoever wrote that voting is past time and everything, So in my political philosophy, if there's no victim, no one's been victimized, no one's been hurt, slapped, stolen from. There's no victim. They haven't been damaged. They haven't been stolen from. They haven't. Okay, no victim, no damages. You haven't damaged anybody's property because again, you damage somebody who owns something. You victimize somebody by damaging their property. You don't trespass on other people's property, private property, and you don't endanger the public. So it's like 4 things. That's how you have to look at everything if you want to look at everything at a freedom versus not freedom angle. Oh, thank you for doing that constitutional freedom fighter. That's very nice of you, sir. So I don't know if that guy answered or not. How do you highlight that? So let's go back to this. So he was basically saying, anyway, I can't figure out how to highlight it. Sorry, bro. He was basically saying cops are humans. Okay.
Your videos, and now I've come and I've watched more videos and I understand the purpose behind it. We got to bring more, and I think that's what I've accomplished, and I'm proud of that fact that I brought people that have not necessarily supported First Amendment auditors, but now they do because they see that it's not just about cursing, it's not just about telling the cop to kick rocks and suck my whatever and do this. And
yeah, that's like the early stages of auditing, and yeah, if you're still doing like that was me back in 2018, but things upgrade fast nowadays, and even you see me, I went and did an audit yesterday or the day before, and I didn't go in there cussing or nothing. Like in 2018, when I first started, and I was like furious at the world, and I was tired of it, and I've been doing so much studying, and I finally blew up at some cops because, like, I was tired of my intelligence being insulted. So now I've done that. I've grown from that, and yes, I still get mad at when the cops start escalating and acting stupid. I start escalating too, but I do it in a more balanced way. So yeah, you guys, you auditors that just lose your stuff for no reason, just to lose your stuff, I don't agree with that either. It's not like you don't have the right to do it, but just like there's bad cops out there that make all other cops look bad, if you just claim to be an auditor, they're going to put you in the same basket as every other auditor. So if there was an ethics to auditing, I would agree. You can get nasty when you need to be nasty, but you got to like balance it out. You can't just go in 120% ready to go nuts. It's just style, honestly. We're talking about style at this point. So
You talking about me, bro?
No,
Good.
I'm not
Okay.
talking about you, Joe.
yeah, Joe was S my D was like his line. He was though. I mean,
or you're
you got to grow too.
pig and this and that, like that's fine, like and again, I have my own criticisms of people, but to answer your question directly is I would say that there are good cops. There has to be good cops because there's good people. I've seen good cops. Like I've said, the system.
See, it's the thing is, I've seen good cops, but just the fact that you become a cop in this day and age means that you're going to do what that culture trains you to do. So how can there be honestly a good cop? I used to give all the cops free drinks at my restaurant, and they're good to a point. Thank you so much, Daryl's Investigative News. That's very nice of you, man. I really appreciate that. They might be good. Just becoming a cop, you are agreeing to do things that are immoral to Americans. Until that culture of we're allowed to impede your freedom over blinky lights, we're allowed to impede your freedom at the drop of a hat for any reason we can cook up on the side of the road. Until that culture is like, no. Our freedom is number one. Then your administrative crap. Then your BS. Now, again, is there when I go from here to there in my car, do I have to pay for permission to do that? I shouldn't have to pay for permission. Do you have the right to impede my freedom on my way there? As long as I'm not doing anything to anybody and I'm being safe, do you have the right to impede my freedom? The answer is no. So if you accept being a cop in this day and age and you accept that culture, sure, there's instances where you could do a good deed here and there, but ultimately you're working for a bad system. And in order for you not to be bad yourself, you would literally have to start arresting people within the system. You'd have to start arresting your own guys. And the very few cops that have actually done that, their lives are in danger. That's how serious it is. So I can't agree there.
System in and of itself, it's a systematic evil system.
There you go. So how can you have a good cop within that system? They'd have to start from within.
That has, perpetrated people's rights being violated, since the birth of the United States, right? It's a problem that it's, the solution
so
to
two
it.
things. Your best argument tonight, and I think you converted me as
Audit Palooza attendee last year.
if a cop is turning in other cops and calling other cops out, I gotta support that. Gotta get behind that. At least
Right, and there are, and as you know, Joe Cool, there are cops that one, Matt Thornton. There's others that have shown videos of cops. This is not what you do.
I've never heard of Matt Thornton until I saw this, by the way.
That's progress. I see that as progress. And again, the system isn't perfect. I mean, it's never gonna be perfect, and we're never gonna get to a place where all cops are like, the best cops in the world. Their job is designed to fuck you over.
If that's what their job is designed to do, then they have a bad job, and anyone who takes that bad job is engaged in bad things. And no system is going to be perfect, but you got to look at it as your own household. Think about it. A mother and father, and they got 12 kids. Are all 12 kids going to come out perfect? No, but there's a standard for the household. There's a standard, and those 12 kids understand the standard. So when the parents set that standard, or the police set that policy, their policies and the way they're supposed to act, if all the cops are acting like crap and violating everybody's rights, it's because the police, the mom and dad, didn't set that standard to begin with. So they're already going into a place where the standard is set against freedom, your freedom. So how could there be a good person working for that system? That's why I say you got to vote in constitutional sheriffs and constitutional city councilmen, because then the cops, the good cops, will not be afraid to arrest the bad cops, because we will be on their side. Every council member will be on their side. The sheriff's also a constitutionalist.
That's the other part of the argument. That's my problem. Any motherfucker in that job, outside of that guy you just mentioned, those guys, yes, it seems like if they quit, there is no shit. If they stop doing that shit, there is no system to do this shit. So I can't fucking excuse.
Easy with the cussing, man. Jeez.
It just seems like it's an impossible task.
I want to. Let me jump in here, guys. I want to.
This editing is from Denver Metro. I didn't do any of this editing, just so you know. The ring bells and stuff.
Respond to Long Island Audits. You made a bunch of points, a couple of good ones. So as far as you saying that I don't agree with some auditors, I'm with you on that. There are some auditors, of course, I'm not going to say names, that I feel like really are like what the trolls say, like antagonize people and stuff like that.
Of course.
And I don't agree with that. But you said that like, oh, well, you're saying suck my this and that and F you and stuff like that. Like, we don't need to do that. Well, here's the thing is that like, and like a lot of people, when I very first started, they used to compare me to you, man, because I was very, calm.
I've got a lot of emails about you.
And like, yeah.
Hey, this
and
is
then as I
imitating you.
I was just being me, and really what happened though was that I started getting comfortable and more confident, and like I kept getting assaulted and people putting their hands on me, and like it got to the point where I became more confident in my abilities, right? And it's like now it's like you get what you give with me, and I'm always respectful in the beginning, but the thing is that you got to keep in mind is that respectful speech doesn't need to be protected. Offensive speech does, and that's part of what we're striving for. So when a police officer is violating your rights and somebody says, "Hey, suck my this, that, and the other thing, F you," you got to keep in mind that there's more than one way to skin a cat, and that lackluster even said.
See, this is what sucks about huge panels like this. They just start talking over each other, and you can't make heads or tails of it.
Lackluster himself said that there has to be a Long Island audit and a Desert Community Watch. Like, there has to be kind of a balance.
You got to stress the system to test the system.
Right. No, listen, Joe, listen, DMA and Joe, in what I said, I fully support people's rights to talk the way they want to their government officials. I don't, condemn them for it. I fully support their First Amendment right to address. Do
you agree it serves a purpose, or at least possible? That guy out there saying "suck the dick." That's when you get the true test of the true time.
If a cop is violating your rights, 100% feel free to do whatever you choose to do. But don't, I feel like, a lot of people,
I can't stomach that shit either.
Listen, if a cop's violating your rights, I use the word tyrant. I call him a tyrant. I call him a coward. I'll use other words that would, I'm not just nice to the cops. I call them a coward. You wouldn't do that with your gun and badge on,
Sean does fine, man. I mean, Sean does great. You don't, it takes a, what do they call it? It takes an army. It takes a something. He does fine. Are people complaining that he's not harsh enough? I don't get it. He does great.
cop violates my rights or puts his hands on me, I let him have it. Maybe not in the suck my whatever in a kind of way, or you're a pig and
He's just not as vulgar as some of us. Okay, so what?
all these other things. But
It takes a village. Thank you, John Winchester. Thank you.
I let him have it, and if he violates my rights. But there's some people that just have an automatic animosity towards every single police officer.
Big die, fuck you in your mind.
Let me hop in here real quick and say something. I think the point that Long Island's trying to make, and it's a point that I make, and it's a point that I feel very strongly about, is that what we're
Let's see here. Everyone in the top row was at Audipalooza last year. Joe Cool was at Audipalooza. Hopefully the rest can show up. Oh, Mass Accountability. I met him too. Hopefully he shows up. October 18th, everybody get your tickets.
Trying to do, like, there's people out here are trying to entertain, right? And there's people out here are legitimately putting their life in the risk, and they're trying to change the system. And the point that I think Sean tried to make, and the point that I would agree with Sean in this, is that it is easy and peasy to make a cop hater hate the cops, all right? I could do that without even making a video, right? I could just say
it's easy peasy to do what?
But like, there's people out here are trying to entertain, right? And there's people out here are legitimately putting their life in the risk, and they're trying to change the system. And the point that I think Sean tried to make, and the point that I would agree with Sean in this, is that it is easy and peasy to make a cop hater hate the cops, all right?
It's easy peasy to make a cop hater hate the cops, okay?
I could do that without even making a video, right? I could just say the cops suck, and they're like, yeah, they suck. Yeah! I'm telling you what. When that cop's violating your rights, and you can calmly say, sir, you're violating my rights.
Joe Cool is like perpetually stoned, dude. It's hilarious.
You took an oath, and you can calmly do that, and you can out-professional the professional peacekeeper. Now you're reaching to the other side of the aisle to them cop lovers, those bootlickers, right? You're taking that side of the aisle on your side, and then when you go before of a judge, who's going to say nothing? Like, I mean, like when you're getting violated.
That's another thing. The judges are not constitutional judges. The Americans who sit in the juries are not constitutionally minded people. The people of this country, except for like 15-20% of us, think in a constitutional manner. So to Sean's point, or whoever, my own point, and I learned this when I got arrested. The lawyer told me, yeah, you didn't really do anything illegal. Being an a-hole is not illegal. But if you leave the judgment up to the judge, she's going to bury you. So she's already telling me the judge is biased against my form of expressing my rights and redressing my grievances. So my lawyer tells me straight up, you let the judge try your case, she's going to bury you and probably put you in jail. She said, option 2, you could plead not guilty, pay me another $3,000 you don't have, and I'll fight for you. But the idea that you're going to find a jury, it's probably going to be 6 people, not 12. And in order for you to win the jury portion of your thing, you're going to have 6 jurors that think the way that you do. So what's the chances of me getting 6 people in a jury who are going to watch me flash a flashlight and start giving the Heil Hitler salute thing at a traffic checkpoint when they have no clue that I'm protesting against the Fourth Amendment violating checkpoint where they just pull you over for no reason and impede your freedom? Because most Americans don't think that way, and especially most Americans who sit on a jury. So until that flips back to where Americans are constitution minded, if you plan on pursuing something legally as an auditor and you go off like I did during my arrest, they're going to use all that against you. They're going to go to the jury. Look at this crazy person. Look at him giving him Sig Heil salutes. He believes our checkpoints are unconstitutional. He believes in the Constitution, and he made his own interpretation of the Constitution. And he thinks freedom means he can do whatever he wants. I mean, just look at the way he was acting. That's another mountain we got to climb. All the other dumb people that are our neighbors. It's about education. It's about culture.
And you tell that cop to suck your dick, and you tell him to fuck off, and you start
stop cussing, Jesus,
call him a pig, right? Number one, you're not going to get the respect from the judge, because the judge is only going to see that, right?
That exactly.
Point in staying professional, and the point in that, I think, is the very fact that you're going to get both sides of the aisle on your side, and there's no excusing a cop violating your rights.
Do you agree?
when you are
do you agree? You need both. Do you agree? You need both sides. Do you need the guy who says suck your dick too? I didn't know.
I feel those guys are counterproductive, because number one,
do you need both of them? Are those guys counterproductive? Maybe at this stage of the game, again, any person, auditor or not, that just flies off the handle for no reason, I could see if someone's doing something to you and you're reacting to it. But if a cop comes up to you and is like, "Hey, brother, how's it going? F my suck my," if you just start like that, we want cops to be reasonable. We kind of have to be reasonable. And again, I used to be that guy where just fly off the handle. So it's kind of detrimental to the movement because you're giving the opposing side ammunition to say, look, these are just a bunch of crazy people, when the majority of us are not. But they take that one kook, whoever he is, who just picked up a camera, because it's not like we go to any training school like the cops do, and they bunch them all together. I'm not like most auditors. Sean's not like most auditors. Like, all these guys made a name for themselves. They're not like just any old auditor. The ones that do that flying off the handle stuff, they don't last long. Nobody watches them. And the people that do watch them are the frauditor channels that use them to say, here, look, this is all what every single auditor is like. So in reality, those guys are bad for the movement, honestly. And if I acted that way, I was bad for the movement when I was acting that way. But I've learned.
I put my life on the risk for this, and then all these people see is that. So when I'm out there doing it professionally, and there's these other guys that are just off the hook with their voices right away, the problem is that they're discrediting what we're trying to accomplish. So no, we're not all connected, but in a way we are. Like, that's why I think it's also important to call out other auditors
like you, and that's why we have people like Long Island Audit. We have those people, and those people are important. I think those probably are the people that are the most important. But to say that we can't, that the people that are saying, disrespectful things right out the gate, that they're actually damaging.
Auditor training could be a lucrative business. I don't think that's the thing, is who's going to pay for the training when all you have to do is take a camera, start a YouTube account, and start recording. The training, what's the training going to do for them? Like, make them more polished? And then what? We hand out a certificate, grade AAA fine prime auditor here. Maybe it could be something.
The movement, I totally disagree with that, because this is speech that we need protected as well, and they need to understand.
Speech needs to be protected, absolutely, but that doesn't mean it helps our movement. The speech needs to be protected. They could say whatever they want, but that doesn't mean it helps our movement. It doesn't say, hey, look at these upstanding citizens. It does, if one auditor acts completely stupid and unreasonable, it doesn't help us. They should have the right to be stupid and unreasonable, but it definitely doesn't help us.
So there has to be a balance.
Judge needs to
a badge. There you go. That's funny.
Respect that. Not
yes.
that we need.
Yeah, don't blame the auditor. What you're doing when you're blaming the auditor is you're blaming the victim.
Does.
Oh, well, you could have acted like you have the right. You have the right to say fuck, but you're not. But
see, now, this is why you can't have more than 2 people on at once, man.
You shouldn't do it because it's hurting the movement. That's not advocating.
I don't agree that it's hurting.
It does hurt the movement, man. And you can do it. It doesn't help the movement, does it? If you have a legitimate reason to be going off, sure. But if you just go off just to go off, that does not help the movement. Should you be allowed to act stupid? Yes, but it definitely doesn't help the movement.
Listen, I don't agree that I don't agree that it hurts the movement, but what I would say,
it does hurt the movement a little bit. Of course it does, because then they could take that example, clip it up, and say this is every auditor. They do it now.
I think Dan was about to touch on this. Is that there's so many people who look up to us, right? However many subscribers each of us has, there's hundreds of thousands of people, millions with all of us combined, of people that look up to us, right? And they look to us as a role model. And these people don't necessarily have the resources that we all do, the channels that we
Pink Camera Magic was at Audipalooza last year. She's going to be there this year if you'd like to meet her.
all do, the reach that we all do. And when you're automatically going off on cops and you're fueling that hatred of people, you're feeling the hatred of cops to people, and then they go out and imitate what you're trying to do because
the idea, right? The idea is that we want to get people not to hate cops, to hate the police culture, and to change the culture into a constitutional, freedom-minded, inalienable right protecting force, peace officers. We want them to be guys that we want to go to and be like, what's up, bro? What's up, James? What's up, Joe? That's what police should be. Constitutional brothers and sisters of the community who are there to protect the community, not steal everybody's money, not enforce victimless crimes. So the goal in auditing is not to bring hate upon the police, but to hate the culture that police are being trained. It's the culture we hate. And bad people are drawn to bad cultures.
They think you're super cool and it's the right thing to do, and I have the right to curse out the cops.
Again, for clowns,
but listen,
fucking up.
But listen, no, but listen. So I agree, you do have the right to do it, and 100% automatic, without unequivocally support the right to use foul language and because it's your right to do that against your government. Again, I just think that as role models, and no, I'm not saying that you shouldn't do it. I'm saying that I wouldn't do it, and because as a role model,
even if he said you shouldn't do it, that's his opinion. I don't think you should go crazy for no reason either. It's my opinion, and I don't think it's helpful to the movement because they can use it against you. Don't give them ammunition. I'm speaking to myself here too, because I was super hothead 5, 7, 8 years ago. I started my channel in 2011, and I was Mr. Hothead. So I'm speaking to myself.
There's people might follow in my footsteps, and then they don't have the resources to hire a $10,000 attorney.
Exactly. That's another thing. If you go out there just guns a-blazing like that, figuratively, and they're going to grab you, they're going to snatch you up, and now what? You got to start begging for money? You better, Sean makes enough money to where he can afford a lawyer for every time he gets tripped up and hemmed up. Can you? Can I? Absolutely not. So you got to balance all these things.
$20,000 attorney and fight the case all the way to the end, and they're going to get their ass locked up. Let me finish. And they're going to get their ass locked up, and they're going to be sitting in a jail. I don't want anybody sitting in a jail cell. Whether you're right or wrong, why would I want you sitting in a jail cell? Yeah, you were right to call that cop a stupid fucking pig.
Jesus.
Right. How are we going to fix that if we're not able to do it, though? If you're just going to say, hey, we have the right to say fuck, but we can't say it because
don't do it because you might end up
how are you going to?
Yeah, don't rock the boat.
It's not about Rocky. It's not about Rocky.
It seems like they're teaming up on him. Everyone has the right to say whatever they want. Everyone has the right to be an idiot. Everyone has the right to be unreasonable. But don't say that doing and going and flying off the handle is a credible look. Being irrational for no reason at all is credible, or brings you credibility, or brings anything credibility. You want to hang out with someone who can't control? Like, I've hung out with a few people from this movement, and it's like the same 150% they did during their audits. It's how they talk to everybody. It's like, bro, like when I talk like that, I reserve it for the people who deserve it. I don't just talk to everybody like that. I don't audit my waiters. You know what I mean? I've gone out to places with people like auditors, and I've hung out with a lot of auditors, and they act like that towards everybody. Like we're at the table and the server says something, and he's like, man, XYZ, this food, that. Like, whoa. If it doesn't fly in real life, if you wouldn't talk to someone like that in real life, you shouldn't really talk to them like that on an audit. Would I go crazy on somebody in real life who tried to impede my freedom? Yes. But at least wait for them to encroach on you first. I don't know, man. The best way forward is to be knowledgeable, to have your laws and codes memorized. And if you get some disgusting pig who's just violating your rights, sure, unleash, go for it. But just to automatically start going off, no. I don't agree with that either. No.
The boat. It's about there are, and listen, there are channels that do that, and that's fine. I have no problem with them, and they can do that all. Like I said, I support them in what they do. I've said that in front of police officers.
Also, okay, Wright's history brings up Eric Brandt. See, ultimately, the system got him, man. He's falsely in prison right now. The system got him. And what did they use to throw him in the system? His speech. So did it help the movement? Or is one of the best people who've ever done it in the movement sitting in jail still? It kind of proves the point. Eric was doing awesome. He was winning suits. The thing he said that actually landed him in jail, which should have never landed him in jail, but they're just waiting for that. They're waiting for that because they don't care about your freedom. It all comes back to freedom. You think they care if Eric Brandt is free? They wanted to lock him up before he ever said the words he said that they finally used against him. They wanted to lock Lane Myers up way before they actually figured out a way to lock him up for his speech. These are the people that need replaced.
Officers, when I do my First Amendment trainings in front of departments, I've said I don't conduct myself this way, but I fully support the auditors that do, because
then support them, and then if they
because
decide
that's
to
their
conduct
right.
themselves in that way, then don't, like, we shouldn't say that's hurting the movement. Like,
If we believe it's hurting the movement, we should say it, because then you're trying to. They should, in my opinion, they shouldn't be irrational, nor should any man be irrational during an audit or otherwise. Rationality is, meet them halfway. If they're stupid to you, be stupid to them. But if they're stupid to you, and you just, if they shoot you with a rubber band and you shoot them with a bazooka, you're being irrational.
And I think that the way you do it is amazing. You've done a lot of great stuff.
Sean does good, man. He's very controlled. He does it very well. So does Denver Metro Audits. So does Joe Cool. So do all. Again, they're talking about most auditors that aren't even like that. I don't think any of them are in this panel.
Like more than most. And I think it's important the way you do it, and I respect that. But the way other people do it doesn't mean that that's the wrong way. That is needed as well. It's needed for people to say,
if I could say
this, that, and
Wanda says Brandt made what administrators perceived as a threat. Yeah. And unfortunately, it's their perception we have to live under right now.
The thing is, we can't blame the auditors. Well, you have the right to do it, but you shouldn't, because then you'll end up in jail. Like, no, we need the public employees, the judges, the district attorneys to say, hey.
See, it's not you shouldn't do it because you end up in jail. It's you shouldn't do it because you shouldn't be that way, generally speaking, unless you have a reason. You shouldn't act that way without reason, is basically what it comes down to.
No, there's nothing we can do. We
I want to make it clear, DMA. I want to make it really clear. If that's what it sounds like I'm saying, that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that they have a First Amendment right, an unequivocal First Amendment right to do what they're doing. Me personally, I don't do that, and anybody can do what they want, and they do. You're going to do what you want. The angry vet's going to do what he wants. Wright's going to do what he wants. Erie's going to do what he wants. Everybody's going to do what they want. Everybody's responsible for their own actions, and if you have a right to do it, I fully support that right to do it. I don't think you're hurting the movement. I just think that in order to bring.
Thank you so much, Lynn. Hi, John. I haven't seen anything from you for tickets. Just don't forget me. Did you email me? Email me, Lynn. I could have swore I went through all the emails like a day ago and called everybody back. But if I haven't called you, just email me your first and last name and your phone number, and I will call you. I promise. And thank you so much for the sticker.
People to the other side. Again, for me, I'm trying to bring other people from who are, you'll never get the full-on boot throat, licking and sucking the whole throat, deep throating the boot people to come on your side. Never, right? Right. But the people that are on the fence, you might be able to say, hey, listen, I'm all for government transparency. Listen, cursing at a cop is already protected. There's nobody that's been, I think this point is, it's not a valid point, because, you say we need people over there to, curse at cops so that way, it's protected. Cursing at the cops has already went all the way to the Supreme Court and has been held as protected speech.
There's a guy in Spokane, Washington, who's fighting that charge right now.
And I went to jail for telling a chick to suck my dick. But at the end of the day,
his lawyers don't think
so. Fight it, you will win.
His
that's
lawyers
the whole point. That's the whole point.
Let me know when I can jump in, guys.
Cursing at the cops.
Go for it.
Hey, Mr. Rogue Nation's great, man. Just let me know if I can talk, because when you have too many people on the panel, man, and they're all alpha males, so it's like throwing a bunch of alpha males in a small shed and just hoping they don't fight with each other.
You can go right. Go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
Okay. All interesting points made here, guys. I just want to bring up a couple other points real quick. One is that there is no handbook on how to exercise.
Oh yeah. Cammed Up Caveman. Where did that, man? It's moving too fast, dude. Oh yeah, he was arrested for speech and convicted and just did some time in jail for speaking. So just because he said S my D during a recess at a city council meeting, they put him in jail for 10 days for that. Crazy.
Our rights, right? So at the end of the day, every man is free to exercise his rights however he sees fit. Okay, whether we like.
I guess they're not alpha males to everybody. Okay, well, you know what I mean.
Like it or not, doesn't matter. I don't care for the way Westboro Baptist Church exercises its freedom of speech, but I also understand that I have to protect it. Right?
I think we all agree on that.
So there is no handbook for that. Some of us choose to go the calmer route. Some people choose to go a different route. that's fine and dandy, right? The only hurt that it does to the community is when bootlickers generalize us like a lot of us generalize cops.
There it is.
Right.
And the ones that go nuts for no reason are the ones that stand out the most, and the ones that are going to be used the most to broad brush all of the rest of us as if we're those people and us are the same people. Except we don't all go to the same academy. We're not all taught in the same school. Anyone can pick up a camera and be a freelance journalist / gonzo journalist / auditor. It's all the same thing.
Because
cop watcher, they all mean the same thing.
You know, Angry Vet says he's never met an angry cop, or he's never met a good cop. Angry Vet, you're 0.0000001% of the cops in the United States that you've actually met is not a good enough sample size to say that all cops are bad, right? Just like if I know, let's say, 3 guys in my, the state of Florida, and they don't like to work, I shouldn't go around saying everybody in Florida is lazy.
Well, as far as bad cops go, they might not all be bad people to the core, but the ones that fall on the blue line, you have to be a certain type of bad to become a cop in this culture to begin with. So, again, you're splitting hairs when you say bad and good cop.
Because that's not a good enough sample size.
Yeah, but does that mean I shouldn't? Does that mean that I should give them the chance to fuck me, or because I'm at the level where trust a single one until they give me a reason to, and none of them have given me a reason to.
Yeah,
you don't have to trust them, of course not. You should not trust cops. Only a fool in this day and age still trusts the police.
What I'm saying is that we have to be open, right? Now, because I don't put out the aura of all cops are bad,
Yeah.
I actually have cops contacting me. Angry Vet, how many cops have contacted you?
Not a single one.
Do you think it might be because they don't want to contact you because you're just going to curse them out?
No, I think they don't contact me because I'm going to call them out.
Call them out for what? Contacting you about corruption in their department?
Well, I mean, if
Angry Vet, I would like to tell you right now, dude, on the record here, that I agree 100% with what you say, bro. And let me explain. Okay, I agree. There is no such thing as a good cop. Now, I'm not saying that all cops are bad individuals, and I've said this before. There's tons of cops that are fine gentlemen and fine women. I've said before, my cousin is a police officer, and I love my cousin. I just would like him more if he quit his job. Now, here's the reason why.
How good can you be when you agree to do immoral things to Americans? How good can you be?
There's no such thing as a good cop, okay? Because number one, there's two main reasons. Number one, just because you're whistleblowing on some other cop doesn't mean that you're a good cop. And I love Matt Thornton, and I've spoke with Matt Thornton. He might come up and do a panel with me, and he's going to let us, we're going to chop it up. I think he's great. I want to highlight him. But I don't think Matt Thornton's a good cop. And the reason is because how many unconstitutional laws are tons, right? All cops, they swear an oath to the Constitution. It's just a formality to get the job. They don't even know the 5 freedoms in the First Amendment. Clearly, we've all seen that.
That's a
they enforce laws they enforce orders without question. They enforce unconstitutional laws. And not only that, even take Matt Thornton, great guy. I think he's freaking awesome. I've said that publicly a bunch of times. All cops don't start off as a detective Matt Thornton solving real crimes, do they? They start off at the bottom of the hill with their radar gun, pulling people over for victimless.
Yeah, it's like an initiation for cops. Go do all this unconstitutional victimless crime enforcement, and then maybe one day we'll let you become detective or sergeant or corporal or whatever.
Crime, stealing money from them. That's not protecting anyone. They're creating conflict where otherwise there wouldn't be any. So again, to reiterate, not all cops are bad individuals, but the very act of being a police officer by default makes you bad.
I just want to say
it kind of does.
one thing. When you're talking about a collective and you're saying that there's no good cops, DMA, and because they're all taking money from victimless crimes. I agree. I agree with that aspect of the
It's true. You can't deny it.
Victimless crimes and getting tickets. But when do we start as people, whether you want to call citizens, people, alpha males, or whatever you want to say, when do we as alpha males, as you said, or alpha
of my own life?
Okay, where do we as alpha of our own lives take accountability for our own lives? What are those officers have the authority to take money from in a victimless crime because of why? Right? You're blaming the officer
because we vote in people who aren't constitutionalists. We vote in sheriffs that don't care about the Constitution. Your city council members, they don't care about the Constitution. They don't care about freedom. Your county commissioners, they don't care about the Constitution. They don't care about freedom. It's only like 15-20% of Americans are liberty-minded. So the majority of Americans are anti-freedom, anti-liberty. You have to understand this. We're not some free country. We haven't been in a long time. The majority swings against freedom. The majority of people support cops. Cops are anti-freedom. Judges are anti-freedom. Prosecuting attorneys are anti-freedom. Supreme Court justices are anti-freedom. Governors are anti-freedom. The representatives of your state Congress and your federal Congress are all anti-freedom, anti-constitution. What do you think you're going to get? This is it. Until you start voting, number one requisite to vote for someone is, do they even know the Constitution? That should be question number one from every reporter in this country. How do you feel about the Constitution? What's your favorite amendment? Until we get back to there, this is what we got. This.
So for doing the job that he was supposed, that he got hired to do. But when are we going to take accountability for electing these people?
Yeah, we put them in office. He makes a good point there.
When we
that's very simple. That's very simple.
So when are we going to take accountability for the legislature that we as people elect that make these laws?
That's true. That doesn't mean don't blame the cop for enforcing them, because everyone has free will. So you can't just blame ourselves for the legislators. Each legislator also said they swore to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution. Each cop, each firefighter, they all swore to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution. So there's still the facade that they swore to uphold, preserve, protect, and defend your liberty. The facade is still there. They just don't do it, and we don't do anything about it. Auditors do something about it, but again, auditors are like a 20.25% of America, if that. 1/10 of 1% of America are auditors. We need to have like 10% of Americans become auditors. Now we're talking about 30 million auditors. Now we're talking about real change. We need 30 million auditors at least to make some real change. We're just now getting on the news here and there, and the news, all the news does is label us as if we're extremist, crazy people who want too much freedom. That's the argument. Freedom versus not freedom. Which side are you on?
Law is the law. They're electing they are, and you don't know. Again, making it's very disingenuous to make a generalization about any group of people, even cops. I don't know if there's a cop out there who's never wrote a ticket in his life.
No, there's very few cops that have not enforced victimless laws. Let's not be naive. They all have done it. They all have done it, and they all will do it just from sheer ignorance alone.
If you just don't know that.
Are you serious? You think all rookies? All rookies have never written a ticket for victimless crime? I mean, dude, all of them have, man. To say that's crazy for you to say that. But here's the thing: you said,
you don't know.
Leroy Truth in the house. If you want to meet Leroy Truth, please come to Auditpalooza, October 18th, Saturday, October 18th. Email me for tickets, JohnFilax@gmail.com. It's basically going to be Friday and Saturday coming and going, but the main event is Saturday. I'll be there Thursday.
You said, okay, a couple things. Number one, you said, well, it's not the cops' fault. They're doing the job that they were told to do. And I'm not saying the cops are as bad as Nazis, but that's what the Nazis said. I'm just following orders, and it wasn't an excuse for them. Okay, and then they're a man first, they're a man first, and they're a cop second. That's the thing they got to keep in mind. And if somebody's telling me, hey, I'm going to pay you to go steal money from this person just because government told you to, and somebody's giving you a paycheck, and we say it's okay, that's being a member of a collective.
So you think society for these victims of crimes, you think people could go 100 miles on a school zone and there should be no consequence?
So this is where Sean, I think, starts getting it wrong. He's saying, so for victimless crimes, so this is what people don't understand about victimless crimes. Again, remember at the beginning of this, I said no victim, no damaging of property, no trespassing, and no endangering the public. Okay? So if someone flies 100 miles an hour through a school zone, they're obviously endangering the public. So no, that shouldn't be legal. Here's where you start getting into the nuts and bolts of it. Should it be they put a 20-mile-an-hour thing there, and if you go 21 miles per hour, the cops should now be allowed to impede your freedom? No. So the solution is there. What we want to do is protect children in schools, in school zones. We want to protect children in the school zones when they let out. And the way to do, and you have to still balance that with your constitutional minded legislature. So what the law should be is reckless. And if they have enough money to send billions of dollars to some foreign country in the Middle East, then they can have an officer during school let-out times sit at that road, and if he sees anybody being reckless, he can impede their freedom because they're endangering the public. But what you don't want is laws on the book that say if he's going 20.01 miles per hour, now you can impede his freedom, because then you start getting into the unconstitutional. So somebody's being reckless, whether it's a school zone or any zone, they're just being reckless. You impede their freedom. You say, I'm going to see you in court, and then I'm going to prove to a judge that you were being reckless. Here's my video. Here's what I witnessed. And then you have a jury decide. Oops, what did I just do there?
What's this for that?
No, but what I am saying, well, a couple things. Number one, if there was no speed limits, let me explain. Let me answer your question. If there was no such thing as a speed limit, do you think that there's going to be a bunch of people they're going to go 70 miles an hour in a school zone?
They do it now when there is
exactly. And it's
so if they do it now, what's the difference? They do it now. Not that many people are going 70 miles an hour through a school zone. That's just not. How many? I mean, in your life, like I'll be 50 next year. I've been through thousands of school zones. My restaurant was near a school zone. I've never seen, I can't recall one time in my life I've seen anyone go 50, 60, just a crazy rate of speed through a school zone. I've never seen it in my life. And sure, that's anecdotal, but you guys let me know. Have you? It's just kind of not a thing. Our culture is go slow through school zones. That's the culture.
Already illegal. So what's going to make it illegal?
By definition, that would mean that more people would do it because there's no consequence.
No, because I have a consequence.
That's not true. Making it illegal doesn't make less people do it. That's just flawed thinking there. It's not. What you do is get rid of the DUIs, get rid of all that crap. Get rid of DUI. It's reckless. If someone's being reckless, then you can impede their freedom, and then you got to prove it in court. I have John being reckless behind the wheel. There was a school zone. I have John being reckless behind the wheel. He started flying, doing at least 50, 60 miles an hour faster than every other car on the road. He's weaving through cars. He was being reckless. You get rid of all the other crap. You make it reckless, endangering the public, and then the cop has to prove it in court. You don't just put law on top of law on top of law. That does nothing but create less freedom.
Just the only reason that I don't murder someone, it's not because it's illegal. I'm a good person. I'm not just gonna kill people, man. And most people, you got to give your fellow man more credit, man. Like just because somebody says we can't make drugs legal because then everyone will be junkies. Is that what you say about yourself? If they make heroin legal, I'm just gonna be shooting up all the time. Like no, man.
Hi, Brian. Here's the deal in the house. Hopefully, you guys can convince Here's the Deal to come to Auditpalooza this year.
Listen, heroin is different because it's not putting anybody's life at risk. It's not putting my children's life at risk. Heroin, it's an individual choice that you're making. If you're
so good, you agree that drug laws are unconstitutional because there's no victim except for yourself. Now, if you hurt somebody or steal somebody's property in order to get your drugs, now you're creating a victim, damages, trespass, all the four things you're not supposed to do.
Shooting up heroin, you're doing it to your own body. You can overdose on yourself. Has nothing to do with anybody else. It's an individual. It's apples and oranges. They're different. When you're speeding in a school zone where kids are passing, or you're driving drunk. When my niece driving drunk, if you make it home okay, that's okay because nobody was hurt, right? But when my niece,
no. See, he's going to bring up an anecdotal thing where his niece lost her legs to a drunk driver. I have a cousin who died to a drunk driver too. There's been DUI laws for decades. There was a DUI law when that happened to his relative. There's DUI laws when it happened to my relative. And driving drunk isn't okay per se, but there are people who can drive drunk. The thing is, you can't be reckless. Just get rid of all that other crap. Reckless and endangerment. That should cover everything. Somebody's being reckless, then they're being reckless. Now, if they're being reckless and they're drunk, I'm fine with adding on stiffer penalties. That you're reckless and you're drunk, that's fine. Add on stiffer penalties. But if you're just reckless because you were reckless, okay. It doesn't need to be. It's not all or nothing. You have to pass the laws with freedom in mind first. Freedom has to be in mind first. That's number one, is Americans' freedom. Then we can start discussing the other stuff.
Was hit by a drunk driver who at 3 years old lost her legs. Then we according to you we can't prosecute drunk drivers unless there's a victim.
According to him, making it illegal.
No, you can prosecute drunk drivers. What that guy did to your niece was he created a victim. He was reckless endangerment. He endangered the public. He needs to go to court and he needs to sit in jail for 5, 10, 20 years for taking your relative's legs. To me, that should be like a 20-year sentence. You're being reckless and you were drunk. Now you cost this girl, you change this girl's life forever. You should sit in jail for 25 to 30. No one's saying, if there isn't a law against it, that you could just do whatever you want.
First of all, I am absolutely against drunk driving. Okay, I don't think people should.
So how can you be against drunk driving, but not against speeding in a school zone?
Hold on, let me finish, man.
It's because speeding is a subjective term that can be used to take advantage of laws to take away freedom whenever they feel like it. Again, you got to balance it out.
So we're talking about drunk driving now, but no, I don't think that speeding should be a crime.
That's right, Brian.
No, now here's the thing. If you're speeding and because of your reckless driving, you do end up hurting someone, thus creating a victim, then I'm okay with it being aggravated because you were driving recklessly. But I don't think just for simply speeding and not actually hurting anyone, no, you shouldn't have money stolen from you for that or locked in a cage. But the same thing with drunk driving.
So is driving drunk, where do you draw the line? Is driving drunk without hurting someone a victim? Well, if there's no victim, there's no victim. I've drank, and I've been over the legal limit before when I used to drink 20 some years ago. And I've been over the limit and I can drive just fine. I've done it many times. But you have to know yourself. And the thing is, when you start messing around with drugs, and I mean alcohol, and I mean marijuana, and I mean whatever you take, you better know that when you get in that car, now you got extra responsibility. You have to be extra careful. And if you can't handle it, you shouldn't be behind the wheel, regardless of the substance. I hope I said that right.
I don't think people should drink and drive. We should educate people that this hurts people. It potentially causes victims. But you got to keep in mind, and I sympathize, I empathize with your niece or whoever, your family. And I've had people being hurt from
DUI is a freedoms. Wow. What does that mean? Everything the government wrote is for the government, the Constitution and everything else, unless you contract with the government.
Drunk driving too. But the thing is that the act of actually drinking and driving is a victimless crime by definition. And I've gotten a DUI. I actually got a DWAI. It's like 0.06.
John, don't make it a right. Doesn't make what a right? I don't know what you're talking about there.
Hardly drunk. And
law or not, I don't want a drunk driver I don't want drunk drivers. I don't like drunk people. I don't really hang out with people who drink. And I don't want drunk. See, the thing is, when you say drunk, you're thinking of someone like, now, if I drink 6, 7 beers and I weigh 240 pounds, I'm not drunk. I just have a buzz. So there's a differences. No, I don't want anyone that can't control themselves and can't drive because they're too drunk. No, I don't want that. But if someone goes out to dinner and has a couple of drinks and they're that much over the limit, do I believe their freedom should be impeded even though they didn't do anything wrong? Should they be fished and hunted on the roads? No. Should their life be turned upside down and they have to pay $10,000 in fines and have all these lawyers because what? Just because they had a couple drinks at dinner, even though they didn't put anybody in danger? No, you can't do that because then they use that to raise revenue. Then you don't really believe in freedom. If someone's capable of having a couple drinks, not getting drunk, and going home, they should be allowed to do that. That is freedom. Scary freedom. But if they're too drunk and they hurt somebody, they should go to jail for a long time because they're not responsible Americans. You don't need laws for that. That's just common sense.
I've been through the classes and I learned that most people drink and drive 800 times before they even get their first DUI.
I believe, yeah. See, most of the drunk driving that happens never causes any victims. It just takes that one time and it's serious. You can't just, again, that's like punishing all gun owners because one guy did something in Delaware, did a mass shooting in Delaware, and now we all get punished for it. That's not fair.
Not before they get into a wreck and kill people. But that's the facts of it. And so, like, if somebody were
seatbelt laws too, unconstitutional. Seatbelt laws were not a thing. I was alive when seatbelt laws weren't a thing. Then they said, we'll make it a secondary charge. Now it's a primary charge. This is what they do with every victimless law when you let them get away with it. Man, I've been on an hour and I'm only 22 minutes into this video. I gotta pee. I'm gonna let this play for a minute.
Drink and drive and then they hurt, so they got in an accident and they hurt someone. Yes, I think they should get in trouble for hurting someone because that's already illegal. But we don't need to make it double illegal, but I would be okay with making it aggravated.
I just want to clear up this one comment really quick, right? Just really quick, and then somebody else can go. So you think that drunk driving in and of itself, without any aggravating factors, should be illegal?
That's kind of like when the mayor asked me if I support pornography in a library, and I said I do not support pornography in a library, but I don't think the benefits of banning it outweigh the risks. Same thing. I do not support people drinking and driving, but yes, I do not think that people should have any punishment if they do not hurt anyone. I live by the non-aggression principle, which states that the only time force is necessary is if somebody else initiates force on you.
Again, this is something that we have to realize is conditioning of our society, right? There is no victimless crime, right? And the reason there's victimless crimes like DMA saying, like speeding and DUIs, where they don't actually have a victim, is because society, us, maybe not us specifically, but society has deemed that to be a crime against society, right? And the victim is society. That's what society has deemed, right? So if we don't like these laws, then we have to change them, right? But we can't get mad and say these people that are hired to enforce these laws that we as society have created are bad people, right? Because listen, if we don't like the laws, we need to change them, right?
No, there is no way to fucking change the law. That's a mythical thing. Give me another option, bruh. I don't have $80,000, all these lawyers and shit to change the fucking laws. Most people don't even know what you know.
There was like a Democratic vote on just without any type of legislature or anything like that in the state of any state. And there was a Democratic vote to say, well, are we going to get rid of drunk driving or speeding in school zones or whatever? I guarantee you that the collective of the people of that state would vote to keep drunk driving illegal. It's a crime against society.
Well, you said Democratic vote, but I mean, democracy is actually a horrible form of government, and the founders hated democracy. Ben Franklin said democracy is two wolves and a sheep voting on what's for dinner.
Example, I know we're not in a democracy, but I was just making the point that if society as a whole, for the state or for the United States as a whole, however you want to think about it.
Democracy is 51% of the population enforcing their will on the 49%, which means the 49% is slaves, and that's democracy. That's not what we're supposed to have. We're supposed to have elected officials that are allowed to make laws that are within the bounds of the Constitution.
There's never going to be a complete consensus on anything. Like, you think drunk driving should be legal. I think drunk driving should be illegal because of experiences in my life that I've personally been affected by, where a 3-year-old loses her ability to walk when she's just starting to learn when she just got the ability to walk because of a man's poor decision. Again, I know that you say that DMA, I'm not trying to say that you're saying that that's specific.
Drunk driving was illegal when that happened to her. That law didn't do anything to save her? It's not the law. Again, it goes back to culture. If we all live by the principle that don't hurt anybody, don't trespass, don't damage property, and don't endanger the public, if we all live by those 4 laws right there, all this other stuff is just noise. So there was a DUI law when that person took my cousin's life. There was a DUI law when that person took your 3-year-old's legs. The law didn't make a difference. It's about culture. It's all about culture.
Situation should be that obviously has a victim, right? Multiple victims in that situation. But what I'm saying is that when you make the decision to drive drunk.
Yeah, constitutional freedom fighter says laws are for after the fact. They don't prevent crime. That's right. Laws are for after the fact. John, 9-ball, double, what? Oh man, we got some shit talker about pool. Let's go, bro. Let's go. What are you saying? Since you gave me $2, I guess I'll read your comment. John, 9-ball, 9-footer, double shim pockets, race to 7. Let's go. Kinetic Customs and Racing. There's going to be a pool table at Auditpalooza. Bring it. It's not going to be double shim 9-footer, but it'll be a 9-footer. Let's go. Race to 7. I'll see you Thursday, October 16th. Bring it. You don't scare me. Only person that scares me is Tennessee Transparency with this 715 Fargo.
When you make that decision, it's a decision that you're making to drive drunk on the road. You are endangering, every time you do it, you are endangering people like my niece.
So there we go again. So the law should be, you can't endanger the public. It doesn't have to be speed limit specific. It doesn't have to be turn signal specific. The law should be endangerment. Now, we have a reasonable cop. He sees you endangering somebody by doing this action. Okay? Instead, we have cops that are like, someone doesn't use their blinker, I can impede their freedom. Someone has a smudge on their license plate, I can impede their freedom. Someone has a plastic border around their license plate, I can impede their freedom. Someone's tire tread is low, I can impede their freedom. Someone went over a white line for half a second, I can impede their freedom. No, the law is you cannot endanger other people. It doesn't have to be DUI. It doesn't have to be walking laws, blinkers, endangerment. What's endangerment? This cop, these witnesses saw John doing this action. They reported it to the government. The government says, holy crap, this evidence looks like John did this, endangered somebody. I'm going to impede John's freedom since he did something to somebody he shouldn't have done. And that's the law. All this other nuance and all this other BS is not necessary. They're arguing over nuance. My doggie's at my mother-in-law's house, and I have to go pick him up soon. So let's do like 5 more minutes of this. And thank you so everybody for being here, man. I really appreciate it. I didn't think it was going to take this long because everything I listen to nowadays is in 2.5x speed. So I got to watch this whole thing in 40 minutes. And I'm going to watch the whole 4-hour thing probably tomorrow at 2.5 speed. So when I got to slow down to regular speed, my ADHD takes over and I got to pick up my dog is what I'm getting at. So here we go.
What society has deemed is that doing that, the ticket that the first of all, you don't go to jail, right? You don't, you got a DWI, right? So you didn't go to jail over it. You didn't get a jail sentence over it, right? You had to pay some fines and you had to go to some classes, right? You didn't go to jail.
And how did that make anybody safe? By stealing their money? What would be better when you say you get a DUI? First of all, how do you get a DUI if you didn't do anything to anybody? That means they impeded your freedom for some other constitutional law, right? We're skipping a few steps again.
Nobody locked you in a dungeon for 6 months. But when you do that and you make that choice, you could have been the person that hit somebody else's knee, somebody else's mother, somebody else's. And what society has deemed is that, yes, there might not be any immediate victim in that situation, but you are a danger to society as a whole.
So without taking any action, they're a danger to society? Without doing anything to endanger anybody? Or just the act of drinking and driving is you believe that's endangering just in and of itself? Because it's not. A lot of people can drive after they drink a little bit of alcohol. As a matter of fact, up until like 0.08 blood alcohol content, you're still drinking. You still have alcohol in your system, but you still can lawfully drive while drinking. You can lawfully drink and drive. So drinking and driving is lawful. It's unlawful once you go past 0.08 BAC. So again, you're fighting about nuance. You just stick to it. Endangering the public is illegal. What kind of endangerment? I saw John do this. This is what I'm articulating. This is what we're going to talk to the judge and to the jury. There you go. And enough of the nuanced arguing.
Could have in that situation if that cop didn't pull you over. You could have. 10 minutes later, you could have. You remember
that movie?
And that cop could have killed 2 people before that. And you being pulled over by the cop could have saved the life of a woman he was about to RAPE. We can't play butterfly effect games. Coulda, woulda, shoulda. The facts are the facts. Freedom's scary. It really is. But you want freedom or you want safety? Which one you want? You can't have both. You really can't have both.
Minority Report with Tom Cruise. It was where like they used to arrest people for like crimes they were going to commit.
Pre-crime. Yeah.
That's like the same thing as you could have. Like you could have hurt someone. So we're gonna lock.
That is true. That's pre-crime. Exactly. Before anything happens, you're hurting somebody. You're impeding their freedom.
Lock you in a cage. You didn't hurt anyone, but you could have.
Like I said, you didn't get locked in a cage.
But if you did,
yeah, everyone who gets a DUI is locked in a cage.
How many people do you know, DMA, in your life? How many people do you think you've known in your life?
Whether you're locked in a cage or not, your freedom is impeded. So your freedom gets impeded. Whether it's in a cage or not, you have to stop. You are impeded. Your freedom is impeded. Again, it goes back to freedom. Forget the nuance of if they actually put you in a metal cage or not.
Couple thousand, maybe.
Probably
right?
at least like tens
At
of
least a
thousands.
couple thousand, right? That is literally 0.0000001% of the United States population. So by you saying, you know, by you saying, I've never known anybody who hasn't drinking and drive
personal
before.
shit.
You take a big enough pool, you take enough thousands of people, and it's going to be relatively the same. When they do
Everybody
scientific
is drinking and
tests, they don't say, okay, there's 300 million people in
There's
America.
people
We have
that don't drink,
to do
DMA.
every 300 million on this survey. No, they take a few thousand or 10,000,
DMA, you
and they
understand
use that as
forget-
their evidence.
Let's take. I understand that, but let's take drinking and driving out of this scenario. You know that there's people who don't drink, right? Millions of people probably that don't drink.
Do I know Debbie Schott? Shad? It doesn't sound familiar.
Alcohol, have never drank alcohol in their life. You know that, right? So it's literally impossible for them to have drinking and drive. So by you saying, you know, oh, because I don't know anybody, everybody I know has done it, you know, that means that,
No,
you know,
yeah, but see,
most
no,
people
you're
haven't done it.
trying to like twist up. What I'm saying is that a lot of people, even the people that advocate.
Pink Camera Magic says, again, if you do that, you're giving the cops the power to decide what is reckless driving. If I say just call it reckless, the thing is, when you have constant, again, it's all big totality of circumstances. If a cop says you're reckless driving and he gets to pick what it is, he has to articulate that and prove it to a reasonable standard in front of reasonable jurors and a reasonable judge, which again flies back to the culture of Americans aren't constitutionalists anymore, which means the people they elect don't have to follow the Constitution, which means the police don't have to follow the Constitution. So again, it all comes back to culture, and we need to get the freedom culture. Freedom, it's either freedom or no freedom. Which side are you on? If you're on the side of freedom, you're going to elect people and have police officers that believe in freedom first. And for someone's freedom to be impeded, you better have a damn good reason that you can articulate that this person did something reckless by putting this person in danger or these people in danger, and be able to articulate it and prove it in court. So I get what you're saying, Amanda.
Against drunk driving have actually done it themselves. That's what I'm saying. But what I wanted to ask you though was, Long Island, do you own yourself?
Do I own myself?
Yeah, like where it's going.
I make my own decisions. Yeah.
Was that profound or what?
So you own yourself. So you are a free, independent, beautiful human being. So if you own yourself, then that means that anyone who uses force and coercion against you when you haven't committed a crime being a crime that has a victim, doesn't that mean that if someone were to lock you in a cage for committing a crime that has no victim, wouldn't that make you the victim if you own yourself?
I don't know about the owning yourself part, but yeah, if you haven't done anything to anybody and they lock you up for it, then you are the victim. That's 100% true.
No, because like for it would depend on the scenario of which that happened. Again, like I said, if
he's done nothing wrong, and but he walked across the street jaywalking, won't sign the ticket, and they lock his ass up.
Nobody owns themselves, right? We're all members of the society, right? We owe obligations to other citizens, right? It's called the social contract.
Like if you go to buy, like I don't think people should not be able to buy guns. I just think that if you buy one, you should have to sign a contract saying that you're not going to do like a mass shooting or suicide.
What society are you a part of?
See, I can't tell if Rogue was joking there or what because of the edits.
I'm not a part of that nonsense where the judges get to create laws and shit.
Yeah, but not everyone.
We enter this contract by our own consent, Joe.
And here's the thing: it's like saying, "Oh, well, if you don't like it, you can go move somewhere else." Well, I mean, that's like saying, "Okay, well, just because we've always done it this way, like I love my country, I'm an American, but it doesn't mean that I agree with the people that are in charge." And saying, "Well, this is the way it's been done, and this is the way, you know, at the age of consent, 18 years old, when you can come into binding contracts."
It's not going to be that big of an issue to sign. Take 10 minutes, sign a contract, get it notarized. You can get it notarized at a post office or a bank. And then it'll probably cut the mass shootings probably all of the way, if not 90%.
Because of a fucking piece of paper? Are you listening to your fucking ignorant self?
Well, that's, you know.
So I don't know what that edit was all about. Let me read some of these comments. Freedom Palooza. There you go. You people. And a Banana Republic. I hope you come to Audipalooza. Someone was asking me if you were going to be there, and I hope you are. Cop Block Hot Springs. Let's see here. Driving in general is dangerous. Let's ban driving. See? Leroy asked me how I know. What did Leroy say? Something about he doesn't drink. I have a long drive. I have a couple extra drinks for the long ride. There you go. Well, then again, if you get pulled over, you don't permit tests and you don't plead the fifth, then zip the lip. Okay. Hi, Caroline. I hope you go to Audipalooza. Tech. I think we're way too far gone for a free society to actually work. I hope you're wrong, man. I mean, I'm going to live free the best I can. All right. let's do. You know what? Are we guys good on this? You want to do a couple more minutes?
Like tradition is no excuse to stand in the way of progress, and we should always try to surpass our previous best. And saying, well, this is the way it is, and you signed up for this. Well, what if I didn't sign up for it? What if I didn't consent?
So understand that we gave the consent. Now, again, we can revoke the consent if we leave, but to act like we didn't consent because we didn't know about it, right?
Leave where?
Right, because it's in the law. It's always been in the law, right?
You ever signed a contract for like work to be done at your house? Like that he broke
victimless crime thing that DMA is talking about. How it's like me and DMA, which by the way, I agree with.
He broke it in 2 seconds. No.
And a couple of guys like me and DMA, which by the way, I agree with the victimless crime thing that DMA is talking about. However, I don't want people to mistake my understanding of the system as an endorsement of the system.
Consented to slavery because it was legal and it was part of the system and it was law. Did they consent? Curious.
Yes.
No, they did not, Joe. But again,
I think the point he's making is that law doesn't equal morality.
That truck outside of the courthouse again with a sign that says there is such thing as jury nullification. Look it up.
Very, very important jury nullification. One of the
yeah, let's end it on that. So jury nullification is one of the best ways you can prevent freedom-hating, disgusting government parasites. If you're ever a juror and you believe the law that's being used against the person is unjust, you can vote against that law. And that's it, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I hope we had a decent discussion. That's it. I'm gonna go get my dog now. How's that make you feel? Especially below the waist. How's that make you feel? Thanks everybody who showed up, man. Consider joining the channel for 99 cents a month. Give it to me. I'm worth it. Give it to me. I'm worth it. You want to play some guitar? Me neither. Good. You don't want to hear that. Give it to me. I'm worth it. Everybody have a good night. Thank you so much. See you soon. Much love. Bye, Leroy. Thanks, Noli, Leroy, Truth, D. Bye.